Hello and welcome. This is from the CBN, where we bring to you weekly reports and expert analysis of the actions, policies, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I am Misi Dada. The Bankers Committee Retreat is a milestone event in the calendar of the financial services sector, providing a unique platform for the banking industry to collaborate and review banking system development during the year and determine specific strategies to stimulate sustainable growth of Nigeria's real sector for the coming year. The two-day retreat, which could not hold last year due to the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, took place earlier this week in Lagos, and we have details of the event as well as the communique released at the end of the retreat in today's package. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
North, South, East or West, male or female, old school or millennial, rural or urban, the Naira is the same, and so is the e-Naira. The e-Naira is a legal tender issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria. So, let's embrace it. The e-Naira will foster financial inclusion, improve access to credit, facilitate cross-border remittances, and it's easier to transfer. E-Naira, same Naira, more possibilities. This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
Welcome back. You're watching from the CBN. The theme of this year's Bankers Committee Retreat, which held in Lagos from Tuesday 14th to Wednesday 15th December, was Building Resilience for Economic Growth. During the two-day event, there were presentations from various thought leaders and industry players, including financial services industry, who shared insights that will help sustain specific progressive-led programs to first, position the Nigerian economy for inclusive, sustainable recovery, second, enable the private sector initiative for export diversification and growth, third, increase import substitution and build local production capacity to reduce pressure on foreign exchange, and fourth, improve efficiency in the financial system through distributed ledger technologies. In his welcome address, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and Chairman of the Bankers Committee, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, thanked the chief executives of banks for their cooperation and support in providing succor during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and playing their role as the catalyst for growth in the economy, noting, however, that the road ahead remains rough.
If we consider the fact that this is an economy that is growing at a pace that lacks population growth rate, we all must work hard and we will continue to crave your support to work with us, because we will continue to come up with policies indeed that in your own boardrooms you will find as hurtful to your own quest to make more profit for your shareholders. But we will continue to count that you will rely and work with us to say that it's not just about you making profit for your shareholders. It is also about you contributing to the growth of our economy. Even where there are some discomforts, but that you will play your part, you will stand strong, support the government, and support the Central Bank of Nigeria to deliver a stronger and resilient economy. As the 12th in the series of annual brainstorming sessions, this retreat is another occasion to critically review strategic economic and financial developments in Nigeria. It is indeed an opportunity to find ways to strengthen and reposition our country for unforeseen challenges. We must aim for not only a fast, balanced, and sustainable recovery, but also ensure that through improved access to finance, the fundamentals of our economy are strengthened.
Mr. Emefiele also commented that though the Nigerian economy is recovering, growth remains fragile, and as a result, continued implementation of efforts to direct flow of credit to the productive sectors of the economy is required to sustain recovery, quicken growth, and improve the livelihood of Nigerians.
With population growth rate at about 2.7% annually, it is important that we continue to deploy measures that will enable our economy to attain faster and balanced growth rates of over 5% on an annual basis. It is in this regard that the CBN recently undertook the following initiatives to build and strengthen the resilience and self-sufficiency of the Nigerian economy. 1. The 100 for 100 initiative. Under this program, targeted credit of up to 5 billion naira will be provided to 100 firms every 100 days. Selected firms will be those investing in greenfield projects, significantly able to create employment opportunities, and use local raw materials. The initiative will also support firms producing goods for our export market. I'm aware that we are currently harvesting the list of companies that have applied, and in due course we'll make them known, because we are determined to see to how can we and what can we do using the opportunity of this 100 for 100 initiative to really deepen and grow our economy more, using the opportunity of availing long-term finance with moratorium, a single-digit interest rate, support many of our companies that can find local raw materials. We will support them to bring in their plants and equipment. And after they have established those plans, we will see to it that they create jobs for our people and stop export of jobs to other countries.
The host governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, in his speech, thanked the Bankers Committee for the support that Lagos State and other states of the Federation received, being a major beneficiary of the interventions resulting from the reforms of the banking sector.
We've all been beneficiary, Lagos State especially, and accessing some of your cash reserve deposits. I want to thank you very much, and I want to assure you that you are part of our Building Back Better, if I also use that. And we're using this intervention in critical infrastructure that we believe will help accelerate growth and recovery for our citizens. We have also been able to use the opportunity to reprice some of our very, very expensive borrowing. And we want to also thank you for that.
On the first day of the retreat, there were presentations to set the global and local macroeconomic context, including the implications for Nigeria. The plenary sessions that followed focused on the salient topics around building back better and promoting export diversification and growth. We'll move on to the high point of day 2 of the Bankers Retreat after this break. Stay tuned.
Oh, I see. Just hold on in that case. Let me call out my PIN. It is 41...
Uncle, please stop.
Stop what?
You're giving someone else your personal identification number PIN?
Not someone else. It's from my bank.
Please hang up, Uncle. That's a fraudster.
That's not true. But they call out my full name. I am sure this is from my bank.
Uncle, no bank is ever going to call you to ask for your personal identification number PIN, your mobile banking password, or your card verification code, CVC.
But it sounded so genuine.
Yes, hackers and fraudsters always sound genuine. But please, Uncle, don't fall for their bait. Don't respond to any phony emails, text message, SMS, and don't click on any link you're not sure of.
Even if they call your date of birth or your BVN, don't give them your security details.
If you suspect any issue with your account, please go to your bank.
Oh, I see.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, this is from the CBN. We bring you up to speed on the actions, policies, and economic initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. We move on to the high point of the day 2 of the 12th Annual Bankers Committee Retreat, which held in Lagos earlier in the week. Presentations on the second day focused on import substitution and building local production capacity and deepening efforts through the establishment of the Nigeria International Financial Center. Breakout sessions provide the opportunity for participants to define and prioritize tangible solutions to the myriads of challenges faced. Later at the presentation of the retreat communique to the press, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and Chairman of the Bankers Committee, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, stressed that the entire objective of the retreat was to have a final recap of all the issues of the banking and financial industry during the outgoing year and deliberate on how to proceed in the coming year 2022.
Most of the presenters came on with the conclusion the Nigerian economy during the pandemic has performed very well due to the actions taken by the CBN, the banks, and the government. They all also commended the fast recovery from recession. Members or those who attended also, however, concluded the recovery remains very fragile and that a lot more work needs to be done to strengthen Nigeria's recovery. We also seized the opportunity to review some of the activities in the banking industry that we think has helped or would help in boosting the level of employment and reducing poverty. We analyzed by demography and we told ourselves that we know that by demography, the youthful population of between age 18 to 35 or 40 constitutes close to almost 60% of our population. And that we need to harness positively the strengths of our youths. One area where the Bankers Committee actually beat its chest that it has tried is the development and the repositioning of the National Arts Theatre and the building of the 4 verticals around the National Arts Theatre. Like you all know, this project is costing the Bankers Committee close to, in fact, above $100 million to redevelop the National Arts Theatre and build 4 creative hubs around the National Arts Theatre. Fashion, the music, the movie, and the software and IT development. In 2022, the Bankers Committee will be focusing and supporting the central bank and the government in developing the infrastructure of the country, reducing the level of infrastructure deficit in the country, realizing that there's increasingly limited fiscal space to fund capital projects, particularly infrastructural projects. I'm sure you all know that the President gave approval for the establishment of the Infrastructure Corporation of Nigeria early in the year. As we stand, the board of the Infrastructure Corporation has been constituted. The managing director of the company has been appointed. 4 asset managers have been appointed. Normally what you will find is that in such kind of infrastructural projects, you will have just 1 asset manager. But we decided to appoint 4 asset managers because we feel that we are in a hurry. And that once an asset is allocated to an asset manager, he goes with his project, you can have at least 4 simultaneous projects going on at the same time, and our asset managers are very busy. As we speak, the Infrastructure Corporation is already working on 3 major infrastructure projects in the country. The Abuja-Kano Road, the second Niger Bridge, and the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road. Yes, the federal government has provided some kind of seed funding initially to jumpstart these projects, but like you know, these projects run into above ₦1 trillion to complete them. So the Infrastructure Corporation has offered itself to say we would help after we would have looked at the viability of those projects, because we are going to be needing debt funding to support these projects. Another project that is also there to us is the Nigerian International Financial Center. Believing and seeing Nigeria as the biggest economy in Africa as well as the largest populated country in Africa, we believe Nigeria eminently deserves the establishment of an international financial center where we will be able to deepen our Nigerian financial markets and improve access to foreign exchange. And I see this opportunity to encourage even foreign investors who may be having doubts as to whether or not this would work, to say that this will be a world-class international financial center. The regulatory framework, the legal framework will be equal, if not better than those kind of regulatory and legal frameworks that you find in international financial centers in other climes around the world. In the area of water import substitution, we also took on board the fact that the 100 for 100 product here we're saying every 100 days, the Central Bank and the Bankers Committee will take stock and announce to Nigerians 100 projects that have been funded over the past 100 days. These projects will be projects to support the growth of Nigeria's manufacturing and agri sector. These projects will be projects that will provide employment for our people and reduce the level of poverty. These projects will be projects where the raw material contents, after you would have had the opportunity of importing the capital machines and all that, where the raw materials will almost entirely be sourced locally.
Journalists were able to seek for further clarifications in the question and answer session which followed.
The first question from Nation asked about the 3 projects, how much? What Infraco has done at this time when the federal government approached us is to provide some kind of bridge funding. Bridge funding, the projects are, the bridge funding is almost close to almost about 170 billion has been provided so that those projects can go on in funding. But the entire scope of those 3 projects, I'm told, is slightly above 1 trillion naira. But the numbers are still being worked on, and I believe by the time the asset managers effectively come on board, the details of those projects, because the remaining aspect of those funding will be coming in through debt, and that's where the asset managers will come with the entire scoping, and then we'll know the detailed cost of those 3 projects. AIT, how will the funds be raised, the 15 trillion? Like we already said, 1 trillion out of the 15 is equity being contributed by the Central Bank, African Finance Corporation, and the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority. The remaining 14 billion naira will be accessed from the debt market. And I must say that we're happy here that these are substantially going to be naira funding. The banks have large pool of funds, the pension administrators have large pool of funds, and we are reasonably optimistic that more than 50%, running close almost 2/3 of these monies can be raised locally before we begin to think about accessing international finance. We will try as much as possible to limit debt from foreign currency, particularly knowing that some of these projects revenues are going to be generated in local currency. But where foreign currencies are needed, we will also tap those and then be able to use them. But what is important is that we are saying within the Nigerian financial system, there is a lot of idle capital or idle funds that can be channeled if packaged the way Infraco has been set up, to give comfort to investors, our local investors, to really put their funds in these projects. This is a brilliant alternative financing methodology that has been brought up, and we seek to really look into this. It tends to help government, not just government, let me repeat, government and private sector, to raise finance without necessarily encumbering the balance sheet of the federal government of Nigeria. That is what we're doing. Yes, and then I go to the next question. I hear about how much the debt, I've talked about how much the debt will be. And then the other aspect of the question is that how will the monies be repaid? Yes, there are debts. Most of those roads, all of them will be tolled. And we know that in many other countries in the world, roads are tolled because those projects are commercially viable. They can be funded with tolls so that maintenance can be done on a regular basis, and people will pay for it, enjoy good roads, enjoy good facilities, because that is the only way that we can fund the infrastructure of this country, which is a large amount of money that is needed. The last question from Channels talked about access to credit. How will small and medium enterprises fund the credit? How will access to credit? I would say that the Monetary Policy Committee has done everything possible at this time to keep interest rate low. And I know that most businesses are accessing finance at reasonably low rates. But this is, if we consider the interventions coming through the CBN to the banks, whether it is our banks, whether it's our development banks, whether it's through NISA microfinance banks, I'm sure you all know that households, in this case, which are individuals, or micro, small, and medium enterprises, like under our agriculture small, medium enterprise equity scheme, ACSMEs, that both households, micro, and small businesses are able to access these credits at maximum of 9%. Let's not forget, a substantial portion of funding that is going into our ACSMEs, agricultural small and medium equity investment scheme, are funds that came up out from the profit before tax of the banks. 5% of the profit before tax of the banks are channeled or are set aside on an annual basis to fund this. So this is also part of the contribution of the banking industry to support the growth of our micro, small and medium enterprise businesses. These loans are being given at single-digit interest rates, and I can say confidently, on an annual basis, nothing less than 35 to 50 billion naira is set aside from banks' profit into this pool to fund these small businesses and households. And I think those are some of the things that the bankers themselves have mandated me at least to amplify, that they are playing some roles, and Nigerians should know that they are doing their best as well. That they are not just making money from you, but that they are also contributing for the growth of the Nigerian economy.
That's a package from the CBN this week. You can report unresolved banking issues to the CBN Consumer Protection Department through the email address cpd@cbn.gov.ng with relevant documents. You can also call the CBN Contact Center using the phone line +234 2255 226. Local rates may apply. Keep sending your comments and contributions to the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com. Find and follow us on social media platforms including YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for updates and uploaded episodes of the program. We invite you to join us again next time. I am Mulie Misidada. Stay safe and bye for now.